Hi beautiful people, welcome to Kate's Space. I'm Kate from Pixie Designs and I am here to just share a little bit of my process working on this journal that I started so very long ago. This is a design team project for Lidia at Raindrop Lila. It's a guest design team project and I'm using her Cornelia's Garden kit. Now, I did put a video up a wee while ago, which was just basically showing you how I was preparing boards for this journal, book boards, the cover. And I just said, did anyone really want to see me carry on working on this journal on video? And there were a few people who said yes, please. So I'm going to give it a go. Now, I have gone through this journal, I am not lying, many times, and I just can't get a handle on where I want it to go. And so today I just am sitting down at my desk and just making myself really make some progress with it. So here I just grabbed a page. That's my first page. One thing, full disclosure, that I have done is actually I have looked at some of my old projects to get a little bit of inspiration, and so this front cover that I'm doing, or this front page that I'm doing at the moment, is just inspired by something that I've done before. Now, I don't know if this will be my front page. Look guys, I want to show you my process, but I have just realized in the process of working out what my process is I've worked out I don't have a process. Oh my gosh, sorry. I just don't. It's just kind of a bit chaotic down here. It should be called Kate's Chaotic Space, maybe. But I do get there in the end. It's just that I don't have sort of this linear process that gets me from the start to the finish of creating a journal. So anyway, here I have glued something to the back of this Girl's Own magazine picture because I want it to be a bit stronger. I'm going to make that a big pocket, and then I'm using the wallpaper or background paper from Lydia's kit. I'm going to make that a little pocket as well. So it'll be sort of a double pocket on what I hope will be the first page, but who knows, it might not be. So that's what I'm doing at the moment. I'm having a little faff, having a little look around, seeing what I want to do. So what I'm going to do with this video is carry on with the voiceover, edit it down because it's over an hour of me just playing with the signatures on my desk. And yeah, I'm going to have to edit it quite dramatically. So here I am just deciding how deep I want this pocket, and I'm just going to tear it down, and yeah, that will become just a little bottom pocket there. I love this digital. It's beautiful rich colors. I do actually end up tearing, I think, the wrong piece off. And I'm going, oh, I don't think that's how I wanted to do it, because now it's upside down, the folded bit, which was going to be the gusset. So yeah, I have a little fiddle around, and yeah, I'm just going to fast forward this little bit, and then when I need to talk, I'll talk. So I've got this to a place where I'm thinking, yep, this is looking okay. Once it's got some things in it, I will probably add a little bit more further down the track, but I feel like that's a good bare bones kind of start, and that's kind of what I'm trying to do because I'm struggling so much. So then I'm turning this over and I'm thinking, what do I want to put here? And I'm thinking a lace pocket on here. And so, yeah, that's probably what I'm looking for right now. Down beside me in my trolley is just some lace. I pick out some lace and I'm just sort of experimenting a little bit with how I might want it to look. So yeah, that's what I do over the next wee while. Just have a little play with experimenting with some different sort of laces that might work as a pocket. Again, if I find a piece of lace which I think is good, I might just leave it there, or even if I'm not really happy with it, I might leave it there just as a reminder that that's where I want to have a lace pocket. Anyway, I really like this one, but it's kind of, you can't really see it on the music paper, it kind of disappears. And I do quite like the white, but I'm not sure about that one, so I'm just having a little play and grabbing a few things. Now this fabric that I'm playing with here is this really cool, I don't know what it's called, it's this really sheer, and I think it goes under things, maybe like petticoats and stuff, fabric that I got at the Fabric-a-Brac sale. And I'm thinking, oh, that would look cool. I love how it's all crushed and crinkled, and I'm thinking, oh, that would be quite cool like that. So that's a thought at this stage, but again, I don't make a decision. Just in my head, I know now that when I turn the page, I am going to have a nice deep pocket. So I did have 5 signatures for this journal, and I'm actually thinking I'm going to cut it down to be a 1 signature journal. I haven't done a 1 signature journal for quite a long time, so I do spend a bit of time looking through all the signatures, thinking about what I want to come next. This is another really beautiful digital by Lidia in the kit, which I really love, and I know that I want to use that. I've got a lot of really old pages in here, and this avocado dyed envelope. This one digital here I also really love, and I've sort of torn that down. I kind of have in my head this kind of torn wallpaper kind of thought going on, because there's a lot of very old wallpaper images in this kit, and I was just thinking that would be quite cool. So yeah, that's kind of the thought I'm having. So yeah, so here we go with just a lot of thinking about what I want to do, how I want to incorporate these pages. One of the things I did do was I printed them on 8.5 by 11 size, which is what they come in, but the journal's a bit bigger, and I didn't like how all the digitals were smaller, the smaller scale, and so I've sort of been thinking about maybe I'll print them out on a bigger piece of paper, so they're more the same size as the other pages. And then the ones that I have printed out, I'm thinking, oh, maybe I'll just use those as pockets, really big deep pockets, and just to add colour and vibrancy to the more neutral pages that I've chosen, these really old pages that I'm really making an effort to use in my journals at the moment, rather than keeping them in a cupboard where they just deteriorate until they're not really any good to use. So yeah, so that is where I'm at, that's what I'm thinking. And so yeah, there will be a whole lot of just like taking pages in, putting pages back, and now I'm thinking to myself, what if I printed one of the images onto this music paper? So I think that's pretty much what I do next. So while I'm thinking about whether I'm going to print onto that music paper, I have actually decided to use this really old piece of, it's a book page, I think it might have been maybe the first inside cover of a book, the fly sheet, I'm not sure. I love the old sellotape marks on it, and I'm thinking, oh, maybe I'll pop that as my first page rather than the music, and I just have that lovely staining at the top, which I really love. It's quite sort of an old sort of look to it, but I really like how that looks. So I do decide that I want to print onto this music paper. So what I'm doing is I'm measuring it, the depth, the height and the width, and then I'm putting that into Photoshop and I'm printing it onto an A3 piece of paper, and then what I'm going to do is then place this piece of music paper, which is bigger than 8.5 by 11 or A4, which is why I'm having to do a custom size. I'm going to actually glue that just along the edge on top of the print and run that through my printer again. That's how I do it. I don't know if that's a bit of a long-winded way to do it, but that's how I do it. And so that's what I'm doing now. I'm just putting that into my computer and telling my printer to print it out on an A3 piece of paper. But you know, my mind's not totally with it because I set it at high quality instead of just normal quality, so it takes ages for it to print out. I didn't need it at high quality, but it means I've got another print, so I'll probably end up doing something with it. So yeah, so while I'm waiting, I do a little bit more playing around with the papers. I really have gathered an awful lot, and sometimes I think that is part is really more of a problem because it gives me so much choice, and I get a little bit overwhelmed by how many papers I've pulled out to use. But I know I want to use those two music sheets, the pink one and the other one. And yeah, there's a few really old book pages I also want to use. I'm thinking about using this page out of a sort of diary, but I don't think I do end up slipping that one in. So I'm just taking apart all the signatures that I've made and just putting them in a pile, and I'm just going to pull from them, and this actually ends up seeming to work quite well. Oh my gosh, yeah. So that's me just rummaging through them. I've pulled out the digital prints that I've printed, and those are printed onto the Southworth linen paper, and yeah, they look really beautiful, and they've got this lovely texture as well. So I do want to use them. I don't want to reprint everything again. So yeah, now I'm still working on, I've just grabbed another piece of lace to see if I can decide on that, but I don't end up really deciding on anything. I do quite like this one, and that's the one that kind of stays there, so we will see. I think I like the kind of depth of it, the sort of darkness of it, because I think the wallpapers are quite moody and dark. They're not sort of light and pretty, or they are pretty. Anyway, I decide on that lace. So I have this other digital piece that I have torn and had on something else, and I know I really want to use this one. This is actually my favorite, which probably you would have been able to guess that anyway. It's my absolute favorite out of all of the ones that are in the kit. I love the roses. I just love the colors and everything about it. So I know I want to use this. So I've just grabbed the printout on the A3 piece of paper, and I'm just looking at it thinking, oh, will I just use it like this, because I've printed it on some really nice sort of sketch paper. And I think, no, I'm going to stick with the plan. I'm going to put the music over the top and run it back through my printer and see how it turns out. Yeah, so that's me just working out how I'm going to place it and where I'm going to glue it, because I think I'm going to have a little bit where it doesn't print, which is fine. So that's what I'm doing there. While that's printing out on my printer, I am now having a good old rummage through all these pieces that I want to use, some of which obviously I don't. Now I have this piece of wallpaper border. I've used this in a journal before and I absolutely love it. I know it's got that teal in it, but I don't know, I feel like it kind of suits the vibe of this journal, and I like it there, so I've paper clipped that there. Yay, a decision, amazing. Love it when a plan comes together. I did really want to incorporate this eco print, but I don't know if I'm really going to get that to fit in with the journal, but we will see. And this is where I had this torn digital initially on this avocado dyed envelope, and I guess I'm just having a look to see if that's where I actually want it to be, and I have left it there. I know I really want to use this beautiful music sheet cover, and I think I do end up slipping it in. I'm just trying things out, and that's part of the same music sheet. I think that's the back cover, and those Girls Own paper top bits there, I thought they'd make a really good up tuck, so I'll put those there and they're taped on. And I know I want to use the Sunshine of Your Smile music sheet as well. So there's a few things I really know that I do want to incorporate. I'm just trying to work out what kind of order I want them to go in. This is from the kit and I want to use that. I've had that tucked in there as a pocket, a large pocket for a while, so I think I've locked that in. Who would know? This is a piece of wallpaper I've had for a while. Barb gave me this beautiful wallpaper and it's not super old, I don't think, but I just really like it and I'm thinking I will use that as a pocket as well. I think this journal is going to have quite a lot of pockets at the moment, or tuck spots. We'll see. I'm just trying to go with it and just keep the momentum going and trying not to overthink anything and try and actually make some progress, because I have lacked progress on this, and I really would love to see it to completion. Not all things come easily, and yeah, so anyway, but I love how this print looks on the music paper. What do you guys think? Do you like it? I always forget to print on different things, well, not always, but often, and yeah, so I think that looks a little bit different. I like how it looks, so yeah, I'm including that. And then I've got this beautiful piece. That's another one of my favorites there that I've just popped in and then taken away, and I think I end up using this as a pocket as well. I just love those flowers and the texture that they have when they're on that lovely linen paper by Southworth. So yep, I'm having a little play with this and deciding what I want to do with it, and I decide, oh yep, I'm going to use that main image there as a pocket, and I'm going to tuck it in there and probably have a double pocket similar to what's on that front page that I was doing. So that's what I'm doing there, and I'm just having a little play around with that. And I'm thinking, what's next? So I'm having a look at all my papers that I've got to the side there. These are very old 1800s book pages that I've sort of taped together. I do really want to use that avocado dyed, but obviously I don't want to use exactly the same paper next to each other. I do definitely want to use the brown paper, so I'm quite keen to use that. Here's another one of the wallpapers or background papers from Lydia's kit, which I also really love. I love the colours in there and the patterns, so I'm thinking that I might do that. As you can see, I'm just having a play around, and I feel like, oh my gosh, this actually might end up coming together. I will be adding obviously lace and trims and snippets and things, and then I'll have to make some ephemera. So yeah, I know it's a long way off finishing, but I do feel like I am making progress, which is always good. If you guys know, and I know you will know, when you're in a bit of a creative sort of rut and everything feels really hard, yeah, it's a common thing to happen. And I used to just have such a big panic attack about it, but now I just force myself, well, not force myself, but I try and keep a routine of coming down and doing something. And some days it's very little in those times when I'm not feeling super inspired or I'm really struggling to create. And sometimes as I start something and I make myself just keep going, something does come together, usually. So yeah, it's just all part of the process, and I'm not saying I'm a very slow creator. I don't make things quickly. So as you can see, and this is being cut down from an hour and a half of just of this shuffling papers, and you know, that's a lot of what we do to get the look that we want in a journal. So yeah, anyway, if you're still with me, I will probably just pause my voiceover here and see what happens after this, because I don't think it's much. And I'll do a bit of editing and I'll be back with you soon. So at this point I have, I think, 15 folios in here to make up the signature, and I feel like because of the pockets that's actually going to be enough. So it's not going to be a super huge journal like some of mine, but I'm kind of liking how the colors are coming together. I do have this Frampton Flora image, and you'll see me sort of playing around with that a little bit, that I think I would actually really like to include, but I'm just not sure how. So here's the covers, and if you haven't seen the other video of me making the covers, I'll link, that'll be linked below, and it'll just pop up on your screen if you want to go and have a look at that. But this is a very old music sheet cover that I've used on here, and then I've Mod Podged it and then seal sprayed it. But I am really, really unsure about what I'm going to do about this cover. So this is just where I'm at. I've got this beautiful velvet that I really want to use in this deep sort of rose colour. And I've got that lovely tapestry fabric. And so I'm wondering, do I need a full spine on this now? It's only one signature. Or could I do an open spine? Yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at. I'm just having a little sort of think about what I want to do. And actually now I'm looking at that with the voiceover. I quite like what I just did there. So it might end up being something along those lines. I've got a couple of linens here that I thought maybe I'll do a wrap inside the cover. But they're quite white and everything in here is very ecru, so I'm not sure. I could tea stain them. But yeah, so that's what I'm doing there. I'm just having a play around with how's this all going to come together, the cover, the signature, how am I going to bind it, and all those sorts of things, and playing with all the things that I pulled out. And yeah, I don't actually come to a decision. The cover has really got me stumped, even though I really love it. So, and then I'm thinking, oh, if this fabric was bigger, I would probably just use that. But it's just not going to be quite big enough. But I do love it. Anyway, so yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing there. Then I just have another flick through. I do like that lace next to that wallpaper. And I'm just having a look at what I've done here as far as the pages and the tuck spots, the colour. Some of the pages I think need a little bit more, but again, like I said, there will be maybe some fabric and some laces being added, so that's going to lift some of those pages that look a little bit plain. Love the brown paper, but then I think, oh, that needs something else as well, so I start having a fiddle with some of my laces again to see exactly what I might like on there. And obviously I don't find anything, and then I think, oh, maybe I'll just actually use that as a pocket rather than a page. Yes, and so I'm thinking, yep, that's what I'll do there. And then I've got the avocado dyed sketch paper, the brow paper, and then this very old music cover, and I'm actually going to glue that Girl's Own page down as pockets as well in the center, so that will be the center spread. And yeah, so here I am just going through, having a look. It's not set in stone, nothing's set in stone until you stitch it, so that's really good. But obviously I'm looking at this going, that's a bit dull, I need something else. And so I'm having a look at some more of the digitals that I've got. Of course, because I printed them as pages, they're double-sided, so I'm thinking, oh, I could use either side, but I decide on that one. And I like that one. And again, there are some very plain pages, but they will, like I said, be decorated. Love how that looks on the music, and love that tuck spot there. And yeah, I do think that this one might need something, but I don't know if I actually come up with anything. But yeah, I do really, really want to use that Frampton Flora image. I keep going back to it, so yeah, we will see what happens with that. So yeah, that is basically where I'm at with this journal. So I know this is not a linear and straightforward sort of process video, but it does give you an idea of just how I go about, sometimes, not always, putting together a signature and trying to make it cohesive and just something that I really, really like. Of course, there's so many different steps and so many different ways to make a journal and so many different processes. So it's really great that there's so many amazing journal makers out there showing us how they make their journals. So yeah, if you've stuck around, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I really appreciate it. I really hope that you are well, and I hope that you are getting some creative time in. Those of you who are in summer, you're probably sitting by the pool, going to the beach, doing things like that, but we are hibernating at the moment. It is grey and dull and cold. So it is perfect crafting weather, so I need my creative mojo to come back to me wherever it is. If you have seen it, please send it on its way. Oh look, I just pick up some tatting and think, oh, what can I do with this? And then I think, oh no, this video is much too long already, but yeah, I may end up using that, I think. So yeah, thanks so much. I really appreciate you. I really appreciate your positive comments and for watching. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.